Hey, what's up you guys, this is Rob from the Gay Guy Plays, and today we master the quick change when we get dressed to kill with our resident gender bender, Equinox. Okay, so I'll be honest, straight off of the bat I found a color combination that I loved for her and I figured that it would be pretty easy to come up with a few others. But let me tell you, it was a pain in the ass to do anything that I thought looked cool enough or different enough for me to stand behind. So after a little trial and error, I managed to concoct a formula that would work well regardless of whether you're getting down and dirty by day or playing it safe by night. Now she's currently only got one additional helmet in the market, which is the Tiki Praying Mantis Pirate themed Solstice helmet for 75 plat. If you couldn't tell by the tone of my voice, I do not like this one. The eye patch is like switching sides and shit, and it doesn't take colors well, and while I usually like to show off different helms on different customizations, I just can't. Not on this one. Now her primary color dictates her night form, which is actually where I do most of my customization, as the day form just tends to fall into place. Now there are two strategies that I've found to work with this. You either use a mid-tone shade as the primary and use a darker color for tint colors 3 and 4, which ends up giving you this gradient from light to dark. Or you use a dark shade in her primary and use a deep saturated tone for tint colors 3 and 4, giving you a gradient of black into a pop of color. Now her secondary tone dictates the base of her day aspect, and while there's no rule against using different shades on this one, I'm a bit of a traditionalist and prefer an off-white. This is where it gets tricky, as you're going to want to match the tone to your primary color. So if you chose a pink-based primary, you may want to use an off-white that is ever so slightly pink. Now, as for tint colors 3 and 4, I keep them the same as I feel like it holds a little bit of continuity between her different aspects, and everything just looks a little more polished and a little less ragtag. Like I said previously, this tone is heavily dictated by what you choose to be the base tone of your night form. If you're going from light to dark, I always go for a near black or a tonal black. And if you're going from dark to a pop of color, I will always reach for some form of gem tone, whether it be muted or something a little more saturated. Next is the energy color, which honestly is personal preference as her glowy bits don't really affect the look of the frame drastically. Just keep in mind that if you want her ultimate to have a drastic effect on the tone of the landscape, you will have to go for something a little more saturated. In addition, don't forget that your color does affect which aspect you start in, lighter tones shifting you into day and darker tones cycling into the night. Now there is one last thing that I want you to be aware of. Equinox does have an uncolorable metallic, which will either work amazingly for you or be the bane of your existence. Regardless, when it comes to coloring accessories or metallic weapons, I figured I'd toss you the dupe color that's worked the best for me. Now, with all that aside, let's get dressed. So that pretty much sums up how I personally work with coloring Equinox. Now I'm sure there are tons of other options out there, but honestly, these ones just make it super easy to have a nice base to work off of. In addition, I feel like using different tones in tint 3 and 4 tend to make her a little bit sloppy. And trust me, the last thing you want is for everyone to see the hot mess you pulled out of Uranus. So thank you all for watching another episode of Dressed to Kill. If you haven't already caught it, be sure to check out my rundown on Equinox, as well as my overextended mend and name build. Now, don't forget to do all the things that I ask you to do at the end of every one of these, and as always, stay drop dead gorgeous. Oh, it makes total sense now! She's got an eye patch, she's from Uranus, she's a butt pirate!